This is Golf Talk Canada, Canada's only national golf talk radio and TV program. Presented by TaylorMade and the all-new Stealth Driver with a red carbon face for better energy transfer and more ball speed. Welcome to the Carbon Age. Now, here are your hosts, Mark Cicchino, Bob Weeks, and Adam Scully.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay,
Hello.
so we are up. Sorry, some technical difficulties this morning as we are on TSN 1050, iHeartRadio, and TSN2 as we are broadcasting as well, simulcast on television this morning, I believe so. Hopefully that's working as well. Adam, Monday, after the Masters, Scotty Scheffler, pretty smooth. He took the air out of the balloon. Like I was saying off the top there, I'll repeat myself in case we weren't up when I was talking. I did first up this morning with Carlo and AK. And to me, the whole, I hate to break it down this way, but the whole golf tournament comes down to two holes for me, 3 and 12.
Yep.
I mean, if Scotty Scheffler doesn't get free relief on 3 and he doesn't chip in for birdie on 3 after getting free relief, and then, of course, it gets a little closer after Cam Smith buries the birdie on 11. But then, of course, he rinses it on 12, another victory on 12. I hate to say it, but the whole golf tournament for me is 2 holes.
Well, and you could say the TSN turning point, TM, was that third hole when you mentioned Scotty Scheffler got that break or got that drop, because if he didn't get a drop there, he's totally stymied. He's behind a tree. There's another, the leaderboard is also in front of him, which is why he got that drop. But the chip that he holed, if that misses the hole, what are we saying? 8 feet past the hole, maybe? Because Cameron Smith hit a different shot to a 15 feet or so past the hole, missed the par putt coming back, and that was a turning point. And then you mentioned the 11th hole, too, where Smith does make birdie after Scheffler makes his par putt. But if Scheffler misses that, we're full on game on here, because the way Smith started with birdie, like not many players birdie that first hole. He does that. Birdie's the second hole after Scheffler looked a little sketchy out of the gates there.
He did. He looked like he was going to give this thing away right out of the gates.
Yep. Especially the way he was swinging. He had the quick hooks or quick draws going off the tee. We saw the miss there. He got away with it on 2. The 2 tee shot, the 2 approach shot went left. His third tee shot went way left. But hey, he battled back in a big way. Good for him. We're
going to get into it today. We're going to hear from Doug Bell with CBS Sports. Doug was covering the Masters for CBS HQ. And part of the reason I wanted to have Doug on today is personally, I don't know anyone who has walked more holes with Tiger Woods in the last 15 years than Doug Bell. Doug's a colleague of mine on PGA Tour Radio as well as PGA Tour Live on ESPN Plus, and I just know Doug has called so many rounds. I wanted Doug's perspective on what he saw from Tiger. Bob's going to join us right away in segment 2 this morning. And we'll get Bob's perspective as he's making his way home from Augusta. It's going to be full Masters, 2 hours. We're going to do a deep dive on what transpired over the weekend, but let's hit some news and headlines.
News and headlines are brought to you by Sandbagger Hard Seltzer. Sandbagger. Everybody knows one.
All right, let's lead with Tiger.
Yeah.
Ball speeds got up as the week went on. He looked difficult making his way around there.
Yep.
The short game, which was brilliant on Thursday, started to unravel as we headed towards the weekend. I'll just give it to you this way, Adam. Do you think he came back too soon?
I think if it was any other tournament other than the Masters, he wouldn't have played. Whether it was the U.S. Open, the PGA Championship, perhaps the Open, maybe he would have come back at this particular time. But if it's any other tournament, I say he doesn't play. Obviously, there weren't many reps in terms of walking. We saw the game was there. I mean, his short game really carried him on Thursday, like you mentioned, only hit 9 greens in regulation on Thursday. But the putter, which we thought would be the strength of his game, because for a bunch of time, that's all he could really do was chip and putt. The 36 putts on Saturday was mind-boggling for a guy who, is one of the great putters in the history of the game. Maybe he came back a little soon, but I'm guessing Tiger got so excited with the way he was starting to feel, with how his team, as he alluded to multiple times, was helping him recover and prepare for rounds. I don't think he regrets playing it. I'm sure he doesn't feel great right now in terms of how his body is feeling physically, but for Tiger to make the cut I think is a remarkable accomplishment.
I do too.
Yeah.
I think walking 4 rounds of golf, I think showing us signs that there's still a game there. To your point, making the cut, beating some of the biggest names in golf, Jordan Spieth, Bryson DeChambeau, Tyrrell Hatton. That's a story in itself. Hatton, would you not love to have Hatton and Horschel mic'd?
Oh,
For their, I mean,
Netflix, look out.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So, I mean, I'm with you. I think there's a lot of positives. I don't think if it was anything other than the Masters, I don't think he would have played. So the question then becomes, a month ago, he said, if you had asked him a month ago if he could have physically have done this, his answer would have been no.
Yeah.
So obviously there was an upward trajectory in his recovery and rehabilitation in the last 30 days that he might not have been anticipating, or he pushed the envelope to get ready for this because it is the Masters, to your point.
Yep.
He is now committed to the Open Championship in July, which we know is a long ways away. St. Andrews, the 150th edition of the Open Championship. Fairly easy walk for 4 days, especially in comparison to what we just had here at Augusta. He left the door open on the PGA and US Open, but did not commit. He wants to give himself time, which again tells me he really pushed it for this.
Yep.
So now it all comes down to, and I'm not a doctor. I wish I was. In fact, maybe we should get somebody on as an expert in this world, right? Because just because you anticipated, or just because you experienced, I should say, in the last 30 days, the upward trajectory that he has experienced in rehab in order to get to this point, it is my understanding that there's no guarantee that that trajectory will continue.
Totally.
Right. So a lot of it now just simply comes down to how much better can his body get, right?
Totally. And I was talking to some people over the weekend. I wish there was a simulation where we could try to play a round of golf and endure the amount of pain that Tiger is going through, because we have no idea how much pain he's actually in. I mean, walking up those last couple holes on Sunday looked to be very painful. The way he walked up to see his family right after finishing on 18, like, he could barely move, right? So you wonder how much more that leg can endure. Nick Faldo said on the broadcast that Tiger was doing a lot of training in the sand, so running around trying to strengthen the ankle.
Smart.
Which is very smart.
Yeah.
You wonder, I mean, even Tiger said in his post on Sunday that his ankle leg didn't really have much endurance. He would wake up, it'd be super stiff, he'd warm it up, it'd be fine. And then for the last couple holes, he just have nothing left in the tank. And knowing Tiger, knowing the way his team works, they'll learn from this and say, hey, here's what happened at Augusta. Here's how we can make it better. The walk at the PGA Championship or US Open Championship won't be anywhere near as difficult. Let's see if we can, maybe take a week off or something and ramp it up again. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him at the PGA Championship, personally.
Well, I think it all really comes down to, again, on how this rehab goes. Because, again, if we're forecasting July and the Open Championship, and we're still having this conversation about fatigue in the ankle and fatigue in the leg, like, can it hold up on, the 60th hole of a golf tournament? I mean, at that point, maybe the writing's on the wall here that this is what it's going to be. And let's just enjoy the fact that he's able to play golf and still participate.
Yep.
I think the big picture hope is we're not having that conversation anymore. That every time we see him, it's less about that and more about his golf game. Fair?
Totally fair. And I mean, even like, as we mentioned, his golf swing looked pretty good.
It looks pretty good.
He's got speed. Yeah. I mean, obviously, there were a couple of misses, especially on downhill lies.
Competitive rust, downhill lies, uphill lies on the back leg, right?
But his driver, like we talk about the stealth driver all the time, he was getting some pop out there. He was driving John Rahm multiple times on Sunday. Let's
take a break, because on the other side, we're going to have Bob join us. He's on his way home from Augusta National, so we want to jump in. We'll switch gears. We will talk Tiger with Bob, but we need to talk about Scotty Scheffler. And speaking of the stealth driver, another win for the Carbon Age.
Another one.
First place and a second place, including multiple top tens. Morikawa sliding in there to the fifth late. He did almost a Rory McIlroy impression, Colin Morikawa. We'll get into notables. We'll play a little over par, under par. We're going to break down the 2022 Masters, but on the other side, Bob on his way home from Augusta National. This is Golf Talk Canada.
This segment of GTC was presented by TaylorMade. TaylorMade. And the all-new Stealth Driver with a red carbon face for better energy transfer and more ball speed. Welcome to the Carbon Age. This is Golf Talk Canada, presented by TaylorMade. This segment of GTC is brought to you by Caddy Time, the Uber-like app that allows golfers across Canada to find affordable, qualified caddies to any round. Visit caddytime.com. Download the app or talk to your PGA professional today.
And welcome back to Golf Talk Canada. Zucchino in studio with you with Adam Scully as we simulcast today on TSN2 television, as we do after every major golf event in the world of golf. Of course, it's a Masters Monday. And joining us now, Adam, on his way home from Augusta National. I'm sure he did the gentleman thing and invited the rest of the TSN crew into the private Golf Talk Canada jet, and he's not making the rest of them fly commercial. Mr. Bob Weeks. Weeksy, how's it going?
Yes, we're up here with the at the front with the champagne is just about to be open. So we finished up with a few eggs here. So yes, it's a lovely morning on the way home.
All right, listen, we're going to get into all this. Obviously, we want your Tiger impressions, etc. But Scottie Scheffler, checking all the boxes. I was on this morning with Carlo and AK on First Up, and we're talking about how, you know, he's not the best in the world at anything in particular. He's just extremely solid at everything. And I know a lot has happened in the last 60 days, but a lot has happened in the last 24 months as well. PGA Tour Rookie of the Year, undefeated at the Ryder Cup. There's really, Bob, no reason to believe that he's not going to win again at some point this year and continue to contend.
Yeah, it's a pretty remarkable run when you think about it. And like you said, there's not a lot of weak parts in his game. Some are stronger than others. He was actually leading the tournament in putting up until the 72nd hole. That dropped him down a little bit, but he drove the ball well. You know, there were a couple of exceptions on obviously the tee shot on Saturday that went into the woods and reduced his lead a little bit. But when you look at his body of work over the 4 days, there was nothing that really glaring. You said, oh my gosh, he's not chipping well, or he's not putting well, or his irons are missing. He kind of did everything at sort of 85% and up, and that was more than enough to win at this tournament. And like you said, you know, I think a lot of people, when you said he's number one, they all looked at us and said, well, I don't think he's really number one. I think he's just on a little bit of a hot streak. I think he's just kind of riding the crest of this little wave that's going to crash. But I don't think so anymore. I think this guy is legit. He won 2 times, then he won a World Golf Championship event in the match play, then he wins a major championship. He's won $9 million since he paired up with Ted Scott. I mean, it's just remarkable, this whole package he's put together. And the best part about it, he's a really nice guy, and we're going to see him at the RBC Canadian Open as well.
Mm-hmm. And that's awesome news that he'll be at the RBC Canadian Open. Now, Bob, this is a guy who's on the outside seems pretty unflappable. But as he spoke about in his press conference after the round, his Sunday morning was a bit of a roller coaster of emotions. What was your thought on what you heard from Scottie Scheffler after his round, saying that he cried his eyes out Sunday morning, saying he didn't think he was ready for this opportunity?
Well, I think it tells you just how big winning a major championship is for any golfer, even a guy who's coming in having won a whole bunch of tournaments in a row. I think that that's probably an extreme version of what a lot of guys go through on Sunday. It's a long wait. You know, he didn't tee off till 10-3. So you're sitting around thinking about what to do and thinking about how it's going to be and trying to keep those thoughts out of your mind. But I think it shows he's a passionate guy, like a lot of these guys are. They don't show it on the outside. Cam Smith doesn't look like he's going through the emotions. Corey Kroners doesn't look like he's going through the emotions. But for Scottie Scheffler, obviously, first of all, to admit that and open up about that, I thought was very brave and very revealing. But I just love the way he admitted to it, and really it just shows you how much this means to these guys.
You know, Bob, I think you hit on something very key there, because what I was thinking was, you know, his ability to take ownership of that and not be scared of the fact that he feels that way and do it publicly is, I think, the first step in you know, not letting it take over you controlling it. They talk about that with the yips and the psychology of the yips. And the first thing you need to do is admit you have the yips before you can fix them. It's like any other problem in life. If you ignore the problem or suggest you don't have it, you're not taking the first step towards fixing it. And I think Scottie Scheffler kind of did that emotionally with this major. You mentioned the Ted Scott thing. He's made more money with Ted Scott in 9 events than he did in his previous 60 starts, I think, on the PGA Tour, which is hilarious. But this is a great segue, Bob, because we're talking about emotional strength, accepting the challenge and the size of the moment. And here we are again, Bob. Our annual Rory Mcilroy Sunday 64. The record book will show that he narrowly missed winning a green jacket on Sunday, when you and I in the sports world know that was never quite the case. What do we take again from this?
Well, yeah, it's the lowest round ever shot on a Sunday at the Masters history. So, I mean, clearly he knows how to get it into the hole. My takeaway really after watching it last night was, and watching him go around, was noticing not only the great play, but also just how much passion he was showing, how much emotion he was showing, how into it he was. And when I compare that going back and looking at Thursday, maybe that's the kind of thing he needs to bring. Maybe he sort of dumbed down his emotional, slowed it down and done it a little bit too much. And maybe what he needs to do is to get himself into a more of an emotional uproar, for lack of a better term, to play that way. If he plays like that for 72 holes, nobody's going to touch him. And I just sort of think that he's thought he plays so well. And you go back to Ryder Cups, he does the same thing there. And he plays so well when he's like that. And maybe there's just a lack of purpose in those early rounds, and he just needs to find that.
And that's even what Rory said after his round on Sunday, Bob, where he said, in major championships, you sort of just have to hang around. But on Sunday, he said, yeah, I was freewheeling it. So for Rory McIlroy, this is a guy who has struggled in first rounds of major championships since winning that major at the 2014 PGA Championship. Maybe, Bob, this guy just has to go out and say, hey, maybe I'll miss the cut by 4. Or maybe he's tried a freewheel. Maybe try a different strategy. He's tried different strategies throughout his major career. Maybe just try going for every pin at majors. Who knows? Maybe that'll work, right?
Yeah, and I don't think he has to go for everything, but I think he has to hit every shot with emotion and every shot with like a thrill ride, and you're right. I think he has to take probably a few more chances and hopefully that they work out. But I just think that there doesn't seem to be this commitment to the shot on every single time, at least not an emotional commitment. I'm sure there's a mental, physical side of it, but get out there and want this tournament, and I know he wants it, but show that passion that you show in Ryder Cups and in other events like that.
I think you're 1,000% correct, Bob. And the more I think about it, excuse me, and the more you talk about this, when Rory has brought it over the years and when he's brought his best, I mean, think of those toe-to-toe matches with Patrick Reed in the Ryder Cup, and they're pounding their chest and they're playing off the crowd. And I mean, Rory's beloved. Why not use that to your advantage? Whoever's advising him to go into this emotionless coma where you don't care and you act like you don't want it, it's just head scratching. And I guess that's also a wonderful way to lead into Tiger Woods here, Bob, as he suggested that the patrons at Augusta were just unbelievable this week, pushing him along, pulling him along. Obviously the body, the golf game showed us a lot of good things. It showed us a lot of rust as well. Short game left him. At the end of the day, I'll ask you what I asked Adam off the top of today's show. Do you think Tiger came back just a little too soon?
Yeah, let's face it. If this wasn't the Masters and this was the PGA being played this week, I don't think we would have seen him. He came back because this is the Masters, and yes, I do think he probably came back a little bit early, but he figured he could probably get it around. I don't know, and I don't think anyone but Tiger and his team know how much pain he was in after the rounds. But you could see on late Saturday and late Sunday, there was more limping. There was more anguish in his face at times. I think he was hurting pretty well down the stretch, and I think that whatever it took to get him back out there in the morning, a lot of it was physio and all that kind of stuff, but a lot of it was just pure willpower. I'm sure of it, and it's not easy to play that way. But the fans did carry him on. And one thing I noticed a lot of, he was acknowledging people in the crowd, almost like Phil Mickelson did. People would yell things out, and he would react to them. When has he ever done that before? He's never acknowledged that. He's always been kind of in this deep focus. And so I think there's sort of this gratefulness seeping through him that, okay, maybe I'm not going to win now, but the experience here, being back here, this is where I want to be. I want to be back in competition. I want to be with my buddies on the PGA Tour. This is what I've done for my entire life, and that was almost taken away from me. And now I have the ability, I know, to come back and do it. That leg's going to get stronger. I don't think it's going to get better, but it's going to get stronger. He'll have lack of movement, and who knows how well he'll be able to play. But I think it was just a thrill, and I can tell you the fans down here nobody had bigger crowds, as you'd expect. They were completely in awe of just what he was doing and who he was.
Now, Bob, you mentioned that the patrons, the fans, it was a great, the reception there was unbelievable. The first Augusta National Masters back with fans in a couple of years. But the burning question that everyone wants to know, who won the egg salad sandwich contest between you and Graham DeLatte?
I managed to eke one out, and it was, I got 12-11, and it was a late flurry on Sunday with three egg salad sandwiches on Sunday. I am very proud to win, but I will tell you, I don't want to see an egg for a while now.
Bob, before we let you go, a couple of quick things before we let you go. Do we see Tiger before the Open Championship, and if so, where? And also, hey, Corey Kroners, another top 10. I know he wants to win this golf tournament, but I mean, 3 top 10s in a row. It's just like, this is just a regular date on the calendar now for Corey.
Yeah, I think we'll see Tiger again before, but I think if it is somewhere, it'll probably be the U.S. Open. But I'm saying that, but it wouldn't surprise me if it didn't happen, if he didn't see him till July. As for Corey Kroners, I've never had more reaction from people asking why we didn't see more of Corey Kroners over the 4 days and what was CBS doing. I think this is a pretty good play for Corey Kroners. He had another solid Masters, becomes the second Canadian to win 3 in a row after Stan Leonard. I think you're going to see Corey win a tournament very soon. That might not be a major, but I think you're going to see him win a tournament very, very soon. It could come this week at Hilton Head, Mark. I think you would agree this is probably a perfect Corey Kroners style golf course.
1,000%, Bob. You play that golf course backwards. You've got to hit it not in the fairway, but what stripe of the fairway and what side of those greens. Some of the smallest greens on the PGA Tour. I'm with you right there on that one. Weeksy, have a safe trip home. We'll see you tomorrow for Golf Talk Canada television, which will air on Wednesday, as we have got a bunch of great stuff from the week in Augusta. And easy, no more eggs the rest of the way, okay?
Okay, take care, guys.
All right, Bob Weeks on his way home from Augusta National after a long week at the Masters. Adam, on the other side, we've only talked about Scheffler, Woods, and McIlroy. But there are a ton of big names that we need to get to. We're going to play a little over par, under par. Some of them cup half full, some of them cup half empty. We'll do it next. This is Golf Talk Canada.
This segment of GTC, presented by TaylorMade, was brought to you by Caddy Time, the Uber-like app that allows golfers across Canada to add affordable, qualified caddies to any round. Visit caddytime.com. Download the app or talk to your PGA professional today. This is Golf Talk Canada, presented by TaylorMade. This segment of GTC is brought to you by WeatherTech Canada, Canada's leader in automotive accessories.
Welcome back to Golf Talk Canada, a Monday Masters edition, TSN 1050, iHeartRadio, TSN2 as we simulcast on TV. Zakino Scully with you. And, once again, at first glance on this leaderboard, historically, Adam, we'll look back and go, oh, what a closely contested Masters with a lot of big names. Not really the case. Cameron Smith was really the only other player that had an opportunity to win this championship. Let's start with Cameron Smith. He was my pick to win this along with Colin Morikawa. I really thought Smith was going to win. And I still think Smith, if 3 goes differently, if 3 doesn't get the chip in, I think this goes a very different way this golf tournament. And I think Cameron Smith will bounce back quickly, possibly as soon as the PGA Championship. And I do believe he will win a green jacket one day.
Totally.
So considering the year he's had, considering some of the luck he had on 3, Not the best decision on 12. I'm going to go still under par for Cameron Smith. I know it wasn't the Sunday he wanted. I know the record books will show a tie for third when clearly he was the next best player in this golf tournament. I'm just going to give him under par, Cameron Smith.
Yeah, I'm the same. So, Cameron Smith could have been the first player to win the Players and the Masters in the same year since Tiger in 2001, correct? So, to have this and his first start since the Players Championship, since that, 10 birdie barrage in the final round on that Monday finish at TPC Sawgrass, this was a great finish. And his week at Augusta was wild, too, with bookending his round on Thursday with double bogey, still shooting 68. Didn't have his best stuff Friday, but the 68 on Saturday, that was a great round of golf, the way the conditions were. You wonder with that tee shot on 12, he had to have pushed that. He had to have chunked that, right? I mean, we saw 17 at Sawgrass,
okay, so
right?
You were watching our coverage Sunday,
yeah,
right?
I was.
And my last hit with Lindsay Hamilton in our studio was... I said, can we take a look at this? Because I really want to break this down. And I suggested, he was aiming about 10, 15 feet left of the flag at 17, protecting a lead at Sawgrass. And he pushed that to about 10, 15 feet right of the flag and made it 2 and got away with it at the Island Green 17. So it's not necessarily the push that's the problem in my mind on 17 at Sawgrass. It's the fact that he's starting at 10, 15 feet left of the flag and pushes it. I mean, you've got to start that 30 feet left of the flag at the Island Green, 35 feet left of the flag. And if you push it, you're 15 feet from the hole still on the proper side of the flag. So it starts with the decision on where you're starting the golf ball. He took an aggressive line on the Island Green. And on Sunday, I said to Lindsay, keep your eye on this. There is going to come a point, a juncture likely in this golf tournament, when we get to 12, it's going to be close, and he is going to be faced with almost an identical situation as he was in at Sawgrass, although this time he could be the chaser and not the protector. And if he takes dead aim, so even if he didn't catch that the way he wanted to, we all know that. But the fact that he's starting it on that line to begin with is a problem. If he is aiming that golf ball 35, 40 feet left of the flag, where Tiger hit it in 2015 and gave himself a mini fist pump for hitting it 40 feet left because that's where he was aimed, if he hits it left, you might get away with the mishit. You could be in that front bunker. You could be getting up and down and still in that golf tournament. So it all starts with the decision to start it at the flag. I mean, unlike Scottie Scheffler, where we're like, okay, there's no holes in the game right now. There's 2 holes in Cameron Smith's game. Doesn't know maybe when to not shoot at the flag, and there's a left tee shot miss.
Well, we saw the left tee shot miss more so after the carnage on 12, making triple bogey. Maybe that was frustration. Maybe that was trying to push a little too hard. You wonder, though, the tee shot on 12, is that lack of Masters experience, too, perhaps? Just trying to be more and more... I don't know. He's played well
I don't think so.
I don't know.
He's got 3 top 10s coming into this. And this is the other thing about Masters experience that kind of makes me laugh a little bit. And I chuckle a bit to myself when we have this conversation, because Masters experience, understanding the greens, when they start to speed up as they get to the weekend, not experiencing them as they brown up, certain little subtleties around the greens that you can't see on TV that you need to get used to. Standing on that 12th tee and you look at the 11th flag and the wind's blowing one way and the 12th flag's blowing another way. Yeah. Okay, but this particular situation, you don't need to learn this situation. You and I know this.
Yeah.
We've never played one Masters, and we know on Sunday, unless you absolutely have to, unless you're trailing by 5, you don't shoot at the flag at 12.
You wonder, too, if it's just he thought, you know what, I'm feeling good. I just birdied 11. Why not try to apply a little pressure? And obviously it came back to haunt him.
Certainly did.
But, I mean, for Cameron Smith, like you mentioned, this is one of the best putters on the PGA Tour going into the week. He was second in par 5 scoring, set a PGA Tour record back in January, Players Champion. This guy will be in the mix at major championships again. Maybe at the PGA in a month. I really like him at the U.S. Open. I really do, but we'll see.
We'll see. We will see. But I'm with you, and we both have him under par in the big picture. Rory Mcilroy, I'm going over par. I don't care about the Sunday 64. I really don't. It's fun to watch. Love watching it. Love Rory. I think Bob hit on something. Maybe he's approaching these things differently. And certainly his performances in events where he gets emotional would certainly be proof in the pudding to me that he needs a new approach here. I'm going over par on Rory. And in fact, his Sunday 64 for me personally, puts him more over par than if he shot 74 on Sunday. And the reason I say that, Adam, is because that 64 on Sunday is proof once again. Like I said earlier in the week to you guys, this has nothing to do with his golf swing or his golf game. This has to do with the 6 inches between the ears and what's right in here. The 64 puts him more over par for me.
Okay, so I'll take a bit of a different stance. I'm saying he's under par because, every once in a while we'll see these glimmers of hope from Rory, i.e. CJ Cup after the emotional display at the Ryder Cup when he clearly didn't have his best stuff. But this is more what I asked Bob about, is that maybe Rory just has to try something different at the major championships. Just try to freewheel, try to play with more emotion. Even at the Open Championship a couple of years ago, his caddy basically berated him that, you're 3 over through 4. Who are you? Play your game sort of thing at the 2017 Open Championship. Just play with more emotion. Just obviously you care, and we know you care, but I didn't think his game was that bad the first 3 days. He had a bad stretch in the second round when he went bogey, double bogey on 10 and 11, a 3-putt from about 7 feet. I don't know.
Okay, well, let's break it down this way. Let's break it down a different way. Let's get more narrow on this. What is the difference between Sunday and Thursday to Saturday? There are 2 things that are different. One, he starts the round thinking he doesn't have a chance to win. Mm-hmm. So there's nothing to lose. You're playing with house money. Everything you do today is just bonus. Okay, so there's column 1. Column 2, wore his emotions on his sleeve, played with energy, fed off the crowd. Those 2 things he did not do Thursday to Saturday. So why not just try to bring Sunday to Thursday?
I agree. And even, when he did get in the mix, somewhat realistically to a degree on Sunday, left miss on 14.
You text me. You said he's going to rinse it on 15. Yeah. And I was expecting him to rinse it on 15. And then he
quacked it left on 14, 15. 16, he had a good shot. He maybe hit the putt a little firm. 17, missed it left again. So he is the most interesting man in golf right now. Mm-hmm. Both the way he speaks to the media, he always gives you an unbelievably honest quote.
We love him.
But the way he plays, too. Because I think we can agree, and we've said this before, that when every player in the world is playing their best, he is the best.
Yes. He's the most gifted golfer on the planet right now as we speak. Naturally gifted golfer, including Tiger Woods, because Tiger Woods is broken. Okay? And including Phil Mickelson, because Phil Mickelson no longer plays and has sold his soul to the devil. And
that's another subject.
And he's 1,000 years old.
Yeah. But Rory, I want him to go to the PGA Championship. I want him to hit driver on every hole. I want him to, up in here say, you know what? If I shoot 80, that's fine. But I want to shoot 67. Like try not to shoot 70 on the first round of a major. And don't hang around like you said.
How about removing the goal from the day? Like right now, all we're talking about is all I want to do is not shoot myself out of it. All I want to do is put around with a 6 in front of it, or put something on the scoreboard under par. Why don't we just remove the goal and go through the process? And my process on Thursday, instead of walking around like a zombie pretending I don't care, why don't I go to start the major as Rory Mcilroy as this beloved fan favorite, and I'm going to fist pump, and I'm going to get the crowd going, and I'm going to go for par 5s, and I'm going to hit it as hard as I can, and I'm going to stroke putts like I don't care about the one coming back. Yep. And at the end of the round, we're going to add them up, and we're going to see what I have. And I bet you, Adam, that number has a 6 in front of it.
I think he's got to play like he plays his driver. Like he doesn't go at saying, I want to hit my driver 306 yards. He wants to hit his driver as far as humanly possible. And he's hitting these ludicrous ball speeds. Just freewheel it from tee to green. He's working with Brad Faxon with his putter. His putting obviously was better on Sunday for the most part. I'm curious where we go TSN edge-wise come PGA Championship.
You got to. What you're trying to say here is you've got to dance like nobody's watching, baby.
Exactly. This is the way I dance all the time anyway, baby. Yeah.
All right, we got tons still to get to. We're going to continue our over par, under par, including some notables that missed the cut in hour 2. We're going to break more down. There's still tons to get to. What about Gary Player with the Saudi Golf League? on the collar on the ceremonial tee shot.
What are you doing,
I would have
Gary?
yanked him
Yeah.
from the back of the collar and pulled him off the ceremonial tee shot.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you doing, Gary? On the other side, we're going to give you some 20 weeks of TaylorMade news. We're going to tee up hour 2, and I want to get your opinion on some of the changes at Augusta, which have kind of gone. We haven't been talking much about them. I don't know. It's mixed reviews on social media. We'll do it next. This is Golf Talk Canada.
This segment of GTC, presented by TaylorMade, was brought to you by WeatherTech Canada, Canada's leader in automotive accessories. This is Golf Talk Canada, presented by TaylorMade. This segment of GTC is brought to you by Play Golf Myrtle Beach. No destination in the world can match Myrtle Beach's volume of golf, quality, and value. Come discover why Myrtle Beach is the golf capital of the world.
Welcome back to Golf Talk Canada. We're kicking off 20 weeks of TaylorMade. Well, we kicked it off this week. We're going to give away a prize Wednesday afternoon on Golf Talk Canada television. Before we can tell you how you can win and more details on 20 weeks of TaylorMade this year, Adam, what about the changes at Augusta? 11, the tee was shifted left and brought back an additional 20 yards. Hole was playing about 520 all week as a par 4. Changing the angle of the tee shot. They thinned out some of the trees to the right, leaving some options for players that blew it right. But at the end of the day, it was the easiest fairway to hit on the entire golf course all week, which I found amazing, that it went from one of the more difficult driving holes with just a little shift in angle to the easiest fairway to hit all week. But that didn't seem to matter, because it was the hardest green to hit in regulation throughout this tournament. It was the hardest hole on the golf course. They reshaped the right edge of the green to make it fall off a little deeper in the Lowry Mize zone. Made the pimple in front of the green a little larger to make some of the golf balls kick away a little further from the putting surface if you were going to bail right. I mean, we'll get to 15 in a second, but 11 was already a hard hole that just got harder. Where are you at this?
It was hard. It was just a hard hole, especially because it played into the wind most of the week. You know, you think back to Tiger on Thursday. He went driver and ripped a 4-iron and ended up short of the green and started laughing. He said, I can't hit that any better. And you didn't see many guys get on that green in regulation. Cam Smith obviously made that great birdie on Sunday. That area right of the green, a bit of a different chip where, you know, we saw Tiger was right of it. Minwoo Lee was also on the right of it after shooting 30 on the first 9 on Sunday. It's a hard hole. I mean, I want to see it again. Hopefully next year it's warmer all 4 days.
Okay, so
right?
you just hit on something there, because I feel the same way you do about 11 and as well about 15, because you and I were going back and forth throughout the broadcast. And, you know, 15 was one of the most exciting holes in major championship golf. And from Thursday to Saturday, it was boring. I mean, 15. We did not see the drama that we normally get on 15, and that's because nobody was going for the green. There was no risk reward. It was just became a 3-shot par 5 with a conservative wedge shot, because if you don't play that wedge shot conservatively, you can rinse it. It played more exciting on Sunday, a little bit more exciting. I think on 15, obviously, they moved the tee back. It plays 550. They changed the angle there as well. But it played a little bit better on Sunday when we got typical Masters conditions. So I'm curious. You know, we really played the Masters this year in winter, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah. We only played it in spring for one day. The weather, unseasonably cold, unseasonably wet early in the week. So in a normal Masters, would those holes have played better? Likely, I'm going to suggest. Yep. I will say this to you. I think that, tell me if I'm right or wrong, or how you feel about this. I think the biggest mistake made on 15 was not the redesign of 15 to create the tee in the back and make it 550. I think the biggest mistake on 15 was not leaving the old tee deck in place, or at least extending the front of the new tee deck, because it's nice to have the hole at 550. It's nice to put the teeth back in it. It's nice to set it up on Thursday and Friday and make it a 3-shot par 5 or give players different look. But to lose the ability to have it at 510, 515, 520, to lose that ability by maybe not having enough elongated of a front tee deck or the old deck still in play, for me, is a mistake.
You want to have the ability to play the hole at different lengths, especially the first couple days, like you mentioned, when it was freezing and it's playing into the fan and guys are hitting, driver 6-iron wedge to 85 yards, and it's essentially just a wedge contest. Arguably the most exciting shot we saw in 15 from the first 3 rounds was Shane Lowry on the 3rd round on Saturday when he nearly holed out for eagle, right? Like that was arguably the most exciting shot we saw all throughout the first 3 rounds. And yes, guys, but there wasn't an eagle there throughout the week.
We did not have an eagle on 15.
But we loved Sergio Garcia's win in 2017. He had an 8-iron from 179 yards in and nearly dunked it.
Right.
I mean, obviously it was hotter then, but
right.
You kind of want the excitement. You want guys to have eagle putts.
And I'm wondering if what we saw from Scotty Scheffler is the happy medium that we saw on Sunday, which was a 5-iron, not an 8-iron, but a 5-iron. So if you got guys with 5-irons and 4-irons and hybrids in there, where they can still get to the green and hit a quality shot and make an eagle, but they have to hit a shot. It's not a flip 8-iron. Where these guys with short irons, it's ridiculous. So I understand the dilemma, but therein lies the problem. I mean, you're only going to get it now when Mother Nature cooperates, as opposed to the tournament committee having the option to say, yeah, it's cold today. The wind's in the player's face. We still want players going for this green and 2, so we're moving the tee up. You can't do that now. When Mother Nature doesn't cooperate with the 15th, the existing design of 15, you're going to get 3-shot par 5 all day.
Okay, speaking of guys going for it, how about Scotty Scheffler going for 15 and 2? Now, when Ted Scott, who was caddying for Scheffler, caddied for Bubba Watson back in 2014.
His 3rd green jacket?
Yeah, but Bubba had a similar lead on 14 and had to finagle it through a little gap in a tree. Scheffler's hitting a 20-yard draw with a 4-shot lead. I mean, it worked out. He made birdie. Good for him. But it was like, what if this goes wrong?
I get, you know what? The little window into the player's mind on things that give them a little bit of, antsiness, etc. He was hitting his irons in his mind so well to just aim it right and let it draw. And if it doesn't, he's still fine. Felt way more safe and way more comfortable than a 130-yard, 120-yard little wedge shot off a downhill lie where the nerves come in. Maybe lay the saw on one.
Yeah, I don't know.
Very weird. Quickly, before we go to break, on the other side, we're going to be joined by Doug Bell from CBS Sports. 20 weeks TaylorMade. We're giving it away on Wednesday. What are we giving away, and how do people win, Adam?
Okay, so do you want the driver that Scotty Scheffler used to win the Masters and win 4 of his last 6 starts and the top 3 players in the leaderboard too? By the way, all you have to do, follow Golf Talk Canada, follow TaylorMade Canada, Twitter and Instagram. Tag your golfing buddies on our posts, both on Twitter and Instagram, for your chance to win. Plus, you can win a set of Stealth irons. This very irons that our own Bob Weeks has in the bag. He's a club longer already this season.
Huge.
He's hitting it straighter in the simulator. Yes, he obviously works out 9 times a day, so that's Bob Weeks, so take that for what you will. But Stealth irons, Stealth driver, that's what you can win this week in 20 weeks of TaylorMade.
Follow Golf Talk Canada. Follow TaylorMade on Instagram, Twitter. Tag your buddy for your chance to win grand prize through the bag, custom set. At the end of the season, get treated like DJ for the day. You will walk out looking like a touring pro. Full bag and a trip for 2 to Casa de Campo, Dominican Republic is the grand prize. 20 weeks of TaylorMade, over 30,000 in prizing this year. Bigger and better than ever. On the other side, my colleague from PGA Tour Radio, who is covering the Masters as part of the CBS Sports team this week, Doug Bell. This is Golf Talk Canada.
This segment of GTC, presented by TaylorMade, was brought to you by Play Golf Myrtle Beach. No destination in the world can match Myrtle Beach's volume of golf, quality, and value. Come discover why Myrtle Beach is the golf capital of the world. Thank you for listening to Hour 1 of GTC. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Golf Talk Canada. For show archives, podcasts, and all things GTC, visit golftalkcanada.com. And don't miss Golf Talk Canada Television weekly on the TSN Television Network. This is Hour 2 of Golf Talk Canada, presented by Picton Mahoney Asset Management. For over 15 years, our focus has been on helping Canadians stay invested in all market conditions, including this one. Now, here are your hosts, Mark Zecchino, Bob Weeks, and Adam Scully.
And welcome back to Golf Talk Canada. It's Zucchino. It is Scully with you, as Weeksy has joined us in hour one on his way home from Augusta, as we are breaking down the year's first major. And the reason I wanted to invite our next guest on the show, first of all, he's a member of the CBS Sports team, a member of the PGA Tour radio team and PGA Tour live team on ESPN+, so a colleague of yours truly. But also, personally, I don't know anyone who has walked more holes physically in the last 15 years with Tiger Woods more than our next guest. So I thought in terms of perspective and having perspective on what we saw from Tiger this week on a firsthand account, our next guest has more data in the bank than anybody else I know. So welcoming into the program now, my friend Doug Bell. Doug, how are you, my friend, before we get into this?
Hey, Mark. Hey, Adam. I'm doing great, and I love the flowery introduction. And basically, you could have just said, you're an old dude. Let's bring in the old guy, Doug. No, great to be with you guys.
Doug, I meant that. It's like when I think about people I know who have a lot of firsthand knowledge of Tiger. Like, I've only had the pleasure of calling Tiger twice in my career working with you on PGA Tour Radio, because for the majority of the 8 years that I've spent with you on that team, Tiger's been on the sidelines for a lot of it. So I've only got a chance to call him twice. I know, you were there when he won at the Tour Championship and had to part the sea of people at East Lake. I mean, you have so much experience with this man. So what did you get from that? Adam and I are getting a few things. We think the golf game itself showed a lot of good signs. The short game looked great early in the week. Ball speeds got up later in the week when the short game left him. We think this really comes down to, how much recuperation can this body do? How much better can this body get over the next 60 days, 90 days, etc. Where are you on this?
Well, first off, guys, I really believe in what I've seen over the years is this metamorphosis of his physical prowess in his body. I mean, back in '97 when he won the Masters, he was this skinny kid who the backswing went over parallel. He lashed it through faster than anybody at that time. I mean, he hit it a country mile. Remember that Saturday he was playing with Colin Montgomery, and he was 50, 60, 70 yards past Montgomery all the time. And then through the years, he got into weightlifting. And I think what we're seeing now is a guy who, on the rehab trail, has figured out that I've got to build that upper body. And he looks like a football player from the waist up. And that obviously compensates for what he's lacking in the lower body. And the leg will never even be close to what it was. In fact, Mark and Adam, I would say right now he's probably 65% physical capability. And he'll never get back to 100%, but I think he hopes to get maybe to 80%. Mm-hmm. But we saw on the weekend a guy who was noticeably limping. I mean, he was hurting. There's no question about it. But on the other side, as you mentioned, the game looks pretty decent. And I think he works hard at it. When you're the best that's ever picked up a club, I say in the modern era, with all due respect to the great Golden Bear, what Tiger has done, what I've visually seen with my own eyes it is remarkable. Prowess is never going to be back where it was. And so how do you bring it all together? Well, I think you bring it all together with your mind. And and Mark, he's the greatest grinder I've ever seen on the golf course. We saw it this weekend. He goes 78, but he never gave up on any hole, never mailed it in. And I just think that's what makes him so special. And I do think now he's appreciating the fact where he's come from, where he's been. And Jim Nantz said it best yesterday when he was walking off the green. He said this was never about another green jacket. It was always about something internal. And that's what we saw on display yesterday, how appreciative he was. And guys, I don't think he's going to play the PGA Championship. I know he's won at Southern Hills. That's 36 days away, I believe. I think that's too quick. I think we're going to see him at the Old Course, the Open Championship. He's won there twice. He called it yesterday his favorite course in the world. And that'll be the last time. Think about that now. That'll be the last time we ever see Tiger Woods play the Old Course competitively coming up in July. That is going to be something pretty special because of the Rota. It won't come back for 5 years, and he's not going to be playing when he's 51. So this will be the last time we see him at the birthplace of golf. That's going to be pretty cool, guys.
That's going to be really cool. And you mentioned a couple of things there, Doug. First of all, how he's built like a football player. Now, I almost think back at the PNC, he was built more like a linebacker. Like the way his arms look back then, it really looks like he has actually trimmed down a little bit. He's still very bulky, I would say. But back at the PNC, he even talked about when he was coming back initially, when he was on crutches, his triceps just got so jacked because that's all he could do, hobbling around on the crutches. But you follow this guy. You've covered this guy up close and personal for so long. And we were discussing in hour one how Tiger is obviously a little more open now with the patrons, the fans. And he was, I don't know about you, but it almost looked like he was actually making eye contact with fans as they were cheering him on. He was acknowledging them. Have you ever seen Tiger this open with fans when watching him?
Never. And listen, as athletes, great athletes age, and they look back at their careers, almost all of them, to a man and woman, become more appreciative because, the celebrations that they had, they know are now in the rearview mirror, and then they realize that all the patrons at Augusta National didn't care what he shot. Obviously we're all hoping for the Hollywood ending, but I think realistically, as that Saturday round unfolded, we realized, okay, all right, let's just appreciate the fact that he's playing again. And I think everywhere he walked around at Augusta, he had a smile. And yesterday he was talking to John Rahm throughout the round. That would never, ever have happened before. Yeah, he's changed dramatically. And then at the end, when he was, again, think about that. And as he said, in 97, now his dad, Earl, could not walk the golf course because of heart problems. And, of course, the big hug is what we all take from that. But his mom in 97 walked every hole of that first Masters victory for Tiger. She walked every hole in 2022 this past week with Tiger. And he said she probably shouldn't have, but she's hard-nosed, and she was going to do it. And I think, he talked about that. Guys, it really is special. And regardless of what you think about Tiger and all the stuff he's been through, you have to appreciate a phenomenal career and this will to come back and do it one more time with his family. I don't know. And again, guys, let me just throw this out there too. And he said it. He was born the year Lee Elder got to play in the Masters. That was the year Tiger Woods was born. And then he said he played this week first two rounds with Joaquin Neiman, who wasn't even born yet when he won the Masters in 97. And he looks back at all these things that are going by in warp speed. And you guys aren't as old as I am, but I'm here to tell you, as you get older, things go by in warp speed. And I think Tiger really appreciates that fact. And he's realizing that the end is near, so he has to appreciate every moment from here on out.
Well, Doug, I'm old enough to tell you as well that the things are moving way too quickly. And I think you nailed something on the head there because, during our Masters coverage here up in Canada on the weekend, I was just racking my brain as to, why would Tiger want to put himself through this? This was a ridiculous amount of work, a huge team effort, the amount of people involved, the pain, the discomfort. But I think that's the nail on the head. You don't sometimes realize how important things are, the little things, until they're not there anymore or until you feel them slipping away. And I think what you and Adam are talking about with the acknowledging of the patrons and the people and, looking back, he wants a few more laps before he's willing to say goodbye, and that'll be enough for him. We're with Doug Bell from CBS Sports, PGA Tour Live, PGA Tour Radio. Doug, before we let you go, a couple more questions from Adam and I just want to switch gears a bit here because Adam and I were suggesting that, for the regular sports fan right now, they're sitting back and they're going, wow, this Scotty Scheffler has come out of nowhere. And maybe this is just a hot streak that might go away. And I'm here to kind of say, hold on a sec. This is 2 years in the making. This is the PGA Tour Rookie of the Year. This is someone who is undefeated at the Ryder Cup, who has a 24-month building block that just happened to kick in the door 60 days ago. But this is not a flash in the pan. This is not somebody who's just riding a hot putter. The boxes are checked here, are they not?
Oh, yeah. And the one thing, he is number one on the PGA Tour in scrambling. And we saw that on display all week long at the Masters. That was on display at the match play. That was on display at the Arnold Palmer Invitational, and Mark, you and I were there. He was getting up and down from some ridiculous spots. And even in Phoenix, when he went out there, you don't hit all those greens on that golf course. And so here's a guy who hits it plenty long with all the top bombers. Iron play, he might be the highest altitude iron player on the PGA Tour. It is crazy how high his shots get, but he can also flight the ball. And obviously the putter is really, really good. But the short game, ingenuity, touch, feel, imagination around the greens is something that we're not talking about, but we should. And I think that'll serve him well. Again, halfway through the season, he has 4 wins in the Masters green jacket. So right now, if he just said, you know what, I want to play the rest of the year, he's the PGA Tour Player of the Year. I don't think there's any question, right? But he has 3 more majors and the FedEx Cup playoffs. Wow, this could be a season for the ages. And you know, I know it sounds like hyperbole, and I'm kind of caught in the moment, but I think he's that good, Mark and Adam. I really do. I believe he's that talented, and I think what we're seeing is a coronation of an elite superstar in Scottie Scheffler.
Yeah, and Scheffler is the 6th world number 1 to win the Masters ever, so quite an accomplishment there. Before I let you go, Doug, Rory Mcilroy. Where are you on Rory? This is a guy who was freewheeling on Sunday. Obviously, it was a great moment on the 18th hole, his 72nd hole, to hole out for the unlikely birdie. Finishes solo second. Wasn't really part of the picture the majority of the tournament. Where are you on Rory for the week that was and looking ahead with the 3 major championships to go?
Well, you know, I love the celebration at 18, and I had never seen that in Rory. What a great person he is, a great interview, and I think he's just a great young man. And I love seeing that little kid come out in there at 18. I mean, that was really, really special. Haven't seen that before, so that was really cool. I just believe this. Listen, there's only 5 guys who've ever won the Grand Slam. Only 5. Gene Sarazen, the great Ben Hogan, obviously Gary Player, Jack and Tiger. Jack and Tiger have each won it more than once. It's hard to win, guys. Only 5 in the history of golf have ever won the Grand Slam. And you think back, Lee Trevino could never get it done at the Masters. He was never comfortable there. Phil, obviously, the U.S. Open 6 times a runner-up. Arnie and Tom Watson could never achieve it at the PGA. Sam Snead at the U.S. Open. The list goes on and on and on. Raymond Floyd could never win the Open Championship. So the golf gods make it very difficult to cross that final hurdle. And I'm not sure Rory will ever get it done at the Masters. He's 32, still a young man, and he's going to have another decade where I think his game is going to be in good stead. We'll have an opportunity. But I'm listen, he could certainly get it done, but I don't know. Sometimes the golf gods just don't let that happen. And again, guys, when you look at those numbers, last 7 years, opening round of the major championships, he's more than 30 over par. The last 3 rounds of major championships the last 7 years, he's about 68 under par. So why does he get out of the gates so slowly with the majors? It's almost inexplicable, and I'm not sure he can understand that. So, again, fabulous player, Hall of Famer, one of the greatest we've ever seen in the modern era. It just remains to be seen if he's ever going to be able to don that green jacket. I mean, it's hard to do, guys.
It is a tough ask. It is a small sample of legendary players that have gotten it done. And I don't know, Doug, I'm with you on this. The game of golf needs more Rory. He is one of the best humans out there, but he needs to find something in the majors. 2014, Dougie. 2014, the last time he has won a major championship. Hey, I'm going to see you Wednesday for our PGA Tour live coverage of the RBC Heritage down at PGA Tour Entertainment. So we will have dinner Wednesday night. How's that?
Hey, I look forward to it. And if you want to, I'll even take you to Buc-ee's.
Oh,
I know you've been there, but...
yes, the world's largest gas station and everything else. Buc-ee's. This Buc-ee's, you can buy a sofa, a barbecue, fill your tank with gas, have dinner, and I'm pretty sure you get your suit tailored at Buc-ee's as well. It is unbelievable. I don't even know what Buc-ee is, Doug. I'm still trying to figure out what kind of animal that is.
Well, I think it's a beaver.
It's a beaver. I thought beavers were only in Canada. What is a beaver doing in Florida?
Well, that's why you can appreciate it. And what you just said there, Mark, are you getting paid by Buc-ee's? emojis? That sounded like an endorsement, like a commercial read.
No, I'm just shocked by it, Doug. I mean, even Mrs. Golf Talk Canada, when we spent a couple of weeks in Florida this year, she's just like, hey, do you want to go see what 200 feet of beef jerky look like? I said, no. No, I don't. I have no desire to see what that looks like. Doug, I'll see you Wednesday, buddy. Thanks for taking the time. Doug Bell,
take care.
PGA Tour Live, PGA Tour Radio, ESPN, and CBS Sports. He does it all. We'll see him on Wednesday. Okay, on the other side, Adam, we've got to talk Morikawa. We got to talk Kroners. We got to talk Lowry. There's so many players. What about names like Spieth and DeChambeau that missed the cut? More Masters talk coming up next. This is Golf Talk Canada.
This segment of GTC was presented by Picton Mahoney Asset Management. For over 15 years, our focus has been on helping Canadians stay invested in all market conditions, including this one. This is Golf Talk Canada, presented by Picton Mahoney Asset Management. This segment of GTC is brought to you by the Muskoka Bay Club and Resort. Live, stay, and play.
Welcome back, Golf Talk Canada. It is Zucchino, it is Scully on a Monday Masters edition of Golf Talk Canada. Like any Monday after a major, including the Players' Championship and RBC Canadian Open, and through the playoffs, not only can you listen to Golf Talk Canada Radio on TSN 1050 and iHeartRadio, you can watch Golf Talk Canada on TSN2, simulcasting on Mondays after major golf events, including the playoffs. And that's what's happening this morning, Adam. And this morning, there are a lot of players scratching their heads. Huge names that missed the cut. Jordan Spieth, Koepka, DeChambeau, Molinari, Rose. Schauffele. You were on Koepka in your edge picks, I believe.
Yep, I was.
So with the exception of Koepka, because obviously that's a shock to you, you picked him. I picked Sam Burns as my dark horse, who also missed the cut. I thought that first-timer jinx might not relate to the second-place person in the FedEx Cup, who's got 2 wins this season. Other than Koepka, who's the most shocking name for you to miss the cut this week?
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, so I was all over Koepka last week, and he was totally shocking to me, given his major performance. Yes, he missed the cut at last year's Masters, but he was essentially playing on one leg. He was hobbling around. He was reading greens like he was Spider-Man. But of everyone else, Spieth doesn't shock me at all.
Really? Even with this history here?
Even the way he spoke at his press conference before the tournament, there's just too much going on up in here for Jordan Spieth, up in the head. The pre-shot routine, there's just, he's playing swing. He's not playing golf just yet. Bryson DeChambeau, that didn't shock me at all, because the way that the significance of the injuries he has, I think he should take 2 months off and just come back for the Open.
I agree. I think he's here way too soon.
Totally. For me, it's Xander Schauffele. He has been MIA the majority of the season, right?
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, you may.
If we were having a Masters draft in November of last year or October of last year, would you have drafted Xander Schauffele?
1,000,000%.
And he was nowhere in our conversation this year.
Yeah, and he, looking at his record, at the U.S. Open, he's never finished outside the top 10. So if he starts to show some better form, I will be all over him again for the U.S. Open. But this is a guy who's had success at Augusta National before. He was part of that tie for second behind Tiger Woods back in 2019. He finished third behind Hideki Matsuyama in 2021. Made a triple bogey on a 70th hole on 16. But his game so far this season, I mean, he hasn't played very well. He won Olympic gold last summer, but since then, not much coming from Xander Schauffele.
I think that might be the biggest surprise. And I'm kind of surprised at Koepka as well. I didn't pick him, to your point, but I'm shocked that he didn't play the weekend. Absolutely shocked. And he has shown some decent form, Koepka. So I don't know. I don't really know where that came from, Adam. It's head scratching.
Yeah.
We will wait and see. Okay, let's play some over par, under par. Let's continue our over par, under par conversation, go deeper into this leaderboard. I had 2 picks this week to win this championship. I went with Cameron Smith and Collin Morikawa. Collin Morikawa really, to me, in the Rory Mcilroy lane, the backdoor cover. Everybody went into prevent, and then they put up a late 14 points. That's what Morikawa did with a Sunday 67. Look at his par 5 performance at Augusta it's horrible. I'm looking at his opening round. He made 1 birdie on a par 5 in his opening round on 15 on Thursday. I'm looking at the par 5s on Friday. 1 birdie on the 8th. You cannot win a green jacket making 1 birdie a day on par 5s. I look at Saturday. On Saturday, he played the par 5s in 1 over. Not a single birdie on the card on Saturday. This is not the way to win a green jacket. Colin Morikawa finishes 5 off the lead and barely took advantage of a single par 5 again. For me, best iron player in the world. I know it's a 5th place finish. I've got Morikawa over par. Where do you have him?
Well, I kind of have him under par only because of the form he was showing more recently. The Players' Championship, obviously, the weather was crazy, bizarre. Valspar didn't really have his game. The match play makes it to the round of 16. He gets absolutely waxed by Abraham Ancer 7 and 6. So my expectations for him weren't very high heading into this week. He spoke about this past Tuesday how he tried to learn how to hit a draw going into previous Masters this time. He just relied on that cut. And I think he's going to win a Masters at some point. This is a guy who I compare a lot to Corey Conners in terms of ball striking. Yes, Morikawa has had more success. But I still think this is under par for Morikawa. It's a great little stepping stone here with the PGA Championship. As Doug said, 36 days away. So I'm under par for Morikawa.
All right. 1 have over, 1 have under. I got Corey for the same reason, under. Again, a lot of it's going to come down to the flat stick for Corey Conners, but 3 top 10s in a row. You wouldn't know it if you were watching CBS on the weekend. But Corey Conners, I've got him under par. Another great finish in another big event. Sooner or later, he's going to win a second golf tournament on the PGA Tour. You know what? It almost lined up this week, but I still got him under par.
I'm under par with him as well. I mean, 6 birdies on Sunday. That's pretty darn good on any Sunday on the PGA Tour. Yes, he made some bogeys up there as well. Struck the ball pretty well. Yes, for him, it's the putter. It's the short game. And we've seen improvements in both categories from Conners and strokes gained around the green and strokes gained putting. But I think the more reps he gets in major championships, that's 3 straight top 10s now at the Masters. He had the 18-hole lead at the PGA Championship last year. Had a top 15 finish at the Open Championship back last July. This is a guy who's just hanging around. Like McIlroy said, he's just hanging around, but he's actually making an impact. So I like Corey Conners under par.
Certainly getting comfortable in his skin in big events, right? Certainly
totally.
Comfortable. All right, I've got this next player, another top 10. That's all he does. Large bucket of top 10s, stuck on 1 career major. 76 to open this championship, follows it up with incredible 67, and then does nothing on the weekend. 72-72. I got Justin Thomas over par. He's better than this, Adam.
He is better than this, and he lost his tournament on Thursday. Bar none.
Yep.
He shot 4 over 76 on Thursday. He struggled with the putter. Even on Sunday, he was making a bit of a run, had a 6-footer on the 9th hole, and fanned it to the right. And this was a guy I was I was all over Justin Thomas pre-week, all over him because of how he'd been playing. 5 top 10s and 9 starts heading into the week. The influence of Jim Bones Macias, his caddy. He played great on Friday. I thought, given the conditions coming in that we saw on Saturday, like he played at that Players' Championship where he was unstoppable, that 3-under round on that Saturday, I thought we were going to see more from Justin Thomas. I got him over par too.
I'm going to give you one more here, and this was a guy that you loved as your dark horse, and he almost pulled it off. Shane Lowry, 5 under par, and I'm going to go under par with Shane Lowry, not just because of the obviously the T3 finish, a good performance from your value play this week, but the way he got it done. He shoots 73 on Thursday. He comes back with a 68. He shoots 73 on Saturday. He comes back with a 69. But that 69, that includes a double on the 4th hole. A triple on the 4th hole. He could have packed it in and walked away. Instead, he fights it in the clubhouse at a 69 for a great finish. I've got him under par.
Okay, so I have him under par for the most part. But there was a moment on Saturday where on the 13th hole, he sort of lost it on his caddy. He blamed his caddy for getting him a wrong. I'm not sure if you saw this.
I did not see this. Okay.
On the 13th hole, Lowry laid it up to about 30 or 40 yards to that front pin. It's a very difficult shot. He hits that shot 50, 60 feet long, And I'm not going to say what he said because, he swore.
Right.
But you could hear him saying, Bo, his caddy's name, you gave me a bad number. I got no shot from here. Basically, this is your fault. Well, Shane, you're hitting the shot.
Right.
Okay, you're hitting the shot. And, he hit this putt down to 4 feet. And this putt from 4 feet, Mark, you've missed the hole from 4 feet. I missed the hole from 4 feet. This guy plays golf for a living. This ball had no chance of going in the hole. It missed the hole by this much from 4 feet, fan to the right. And then on the 14th hole, made a bogey there. You could tell there were a lot of things going on in here.
Up, yeah.
But this guy's a good player. If he can reel it in, play with a little less emotion, maybe not like Rory Mcilroy on the opposite side of the spectrum. I like Shane Lowry here going ahead for majors too.
And I will tell you this, from being out there, walking inside the ropes with these guys for the last 8 years, there is no caddy in the world of professional golf that on a wedge shot gives a number as far off to a player that makes him 50 to 60 feet long. No such thing. You might get a bad number that they are off by, 10 to 20 feet on a wedge. The cover number is 123 and the cover number was really 128. There's no 60-foot mistakes on wedge plays by professional caddies. That's on Lowry.
Yep.
All right, on the other side, we'll do 3-dub. Winners, Weird, and What? Masters Edition. This is Golf Talk Canada.
This segment of GTC, presented by Picton Mahoney Asset Management, was brought to you by the Muskoka Bay Club and Resort. Live, stay, and play. This is Golf Talk Canada, presented by Picton Mahoney Asset Management. This segment of GTC is brought to you by Cadillac. Experience the iconic Cadillac sedans and SUVs in a personalized live video tour with all your questions answered in real time. Book your tour at Cadillac.live.
Welcome back to GTC. It is Zakino. It is Scully. I was just talking to you there, Adam, in the break there. I'm working on the first 2 feet back. I've been struggling. I've been struggling with. So Cooch, right? Cooch has that move where he kind of gets flat.
That's an understatement.
Yeah, and then it's like it feels a little over the top.
Are you almost talking the Spieth like this play?
Yeah,
here?
not to that extreme.
Okay, good,
but yeah,
good.
but I come from the inside much that I need to almost feel like it's over the top on the way down. It's never over the top with me. So I could throw it there all day long. I'm never going to be over the top. I'm still going to be 1 degree inside, even on a cast. Like it's ridiculous. But I need a bit of that sensation. But I've got into this problem that I've been working on, which is because of that, I started pulling it hard to the inside to then get this way, and I was fanning the face open, which is, it'll kill you with your contact to your irons. I mean, your game will go so far south so early. So I'm working on this drill now where I will literally sit there for an hour and just take the club back 2 feet and make sure that face is... It appears to be shut. It's not. It's square. But before you start to turn, keep that club down the line and just square it up.
I think if you morphed our golf swings together, I mean, because I'm habitually over the top always, and I want that inside move. So
there you go.
I think that's it. You morph us together.
But you know what's so funny? I fight this it's so weird. Body memory and patterns and old habits in this game. This time of year, I fight this at the start of every golf season.
Totally.
At the start of every golf season, I want to fan it over. It makes no sense. All right. So much to get to in the world of golf in terms of good, bad, the ugly. We call it winners, weird, and what. And this week, Adam, the tee is mine.
I'll answer the question. You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
All right, it was interesting. On the weekend, part of the discussion between our Masters panel down in Augusta and Lindsay and I here in Toronto is, about Tiger's presence on tour. And, back in the day, it was a straight intimidation factor. And I'm not suggesting that intimidation factor is gone by any means of the imagination. Look what happened in 2019 with Koepka and Molinari when they saw his name on the board. And Tiger knew what they were going to have to face. And he just let them go through it, and he walked to his 15th major. But I mentioned something to Lindsay, who I really enjoyed working with again, by the way, this year. Lindsay Hamilton, we had a blast. But I mentioned to Lindsay that there's something different now. There's almost like a celebratory thing with Tiger, that the players love it when he's there, and they celebrate the fact when he's in the field, and they're kind of giddy about it. And in Scottie Scheffler's post-round news conference, post-round presser as a Masters champion, he was asked about the influence of Tiger, and Tiger ever make an impact on him. I love this. Listen in on this.
I play Tiger's irons. I wear his shoes. Wore a shirt this week. Tiger on the golf course is just ridiculous. He's done so much for the game of golf, and I spoke about it a little bit at the beginning of the week. We're so glad to have him back out here. He is the needle for the game of golf. He has completely changed the PGA Tour from when he came on 25 years ago, or maybe just 26 now. And his YouTube clips are just such an inspiration for me.
That's pretty awesome, isn't it, Adam? Not obviously you hear the inspiration, but you hear they celebrate his presence. He's got his shoes, has his irons, has his shirt. But you know what I mean? Like it's like me as a kid wearing a Doug Gilmour ball hockey jersey or a Wayne Gretzky ball hockey jersey. I mean, these guys love it.
Oh, it's funny too, Scottie Scheffler saying that he influenced YouTube of Tiger, because he's 25 years old. He's not very old, so he watched Tiger in his prime on YouTube, because he didn't really he doesn't have many memories of watching him play on TV.
That's crazy. Okay, my weird this week. Now, 2 players missed the cut this week, and I understand Bryson DeChambeau is hurt, and you and I both believe that DeChambeau, came back too early, and he did come back against doctor's orders. But this is bizarre. Larry Mize also missed the cut this week. Larry Mize was 1 shot better after 36 holes than Bryson DeChambeau. Larry Mize gave up 80 yards, 80 off the tee, and 35 years in age to Bryson DeChambeau, and beat him straight up this week at Augusta National.
That's pretty wild. I mean, hit fairways. I mean, maybe Bryson's got to dial back the ball. Maybe Bryson will come back. He'll be 60 pounds lighter and just want to hit fairways. I don't know. But that's crazy. I
mean, 80 yards. That's a Walmart. They built a Walmart between Mize and DeChambeau. And never mind the 35 years. Unbelievable. And my what this week? I'm giving you 2 whats.
Oh.
I'm cheating. My first what is, did you see Hudson Swafford's clubhead go flying on 13? I mean, I've seen clubheads come off golf shots before. I've seen equipment falter. But usually the ball goes 40 feet. It goes tumbling into the creek. It goes off in the woods. He got so much clubhead on the ball as it was coming off his iron. The ball went long off the green on 13.
This defied everything that you see in golf. I mean, we've broken golf clubs before. We've seen it before. Like you mentioned, typically you'd see someone like cold top it, and they're like, what on earth just happened? And he did that what on earth just happened reaction. But his ball ends up long on 13. I've certainly never seen something like this before.
And my second one, I just got to reiterate it because we mentioned it off the top. Jack Nicklaus in that ceremonial tee shot should have taken his brand new carbon age stealth driver and clubbed player over the head for the Saudi Golf League logo in a ceremonial tee shot at Augusta. And this is a year after, was it his son?
I think it was his son.
Who was hawking the golf balls in the background?
That was bad.
I'm like, how many years are we going to watch Gary do this at the ceremonial tee shot? At what point do we just put out the hook and yank him?
Yep.
All right, Adam, the tee is yours.
348. Oh man, that is sweet.
Mark, just hearing that, I want to hit golf balls like right sort of now-ish. Okay. Anyway, my winner this week, Masters.com. For yet another year, Masters.com shows every shot from every player, and that's awesome to see because, as many people pointed out on Twitter, especially for us Canadians, sometimes you don't see a lot of your favorite player, your Corey Kroners, or maybe some guys you might like and root for. And Masters.com is a theme for my 3-dub this week because something we also didn't see on the broadcast is my weird.
Okay.
That's Kevin Knox.
Yes.
On Saturday.
And we're going to show it on TV
We're going to show it on TV this week, the whole thing. Yeah. He's putting for birdie on 16. You think, hey, you know what? I'm in this tournament, maybe 2-putt per par. He makes a triple bogey. 5-putt. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5. What? 5-putt. I mean, Tiger had a 4-putt, but
for
a 5-putt.
One of the best putters in the game, too, by the way, right?
You know what? And he didn't walk any of them in, obviously, but
If he had walked in the 5th one, that would be the best.
Well, and the funniest was on the 17th hole, which the broadcast did show, he hit it to 4 feet, and that 4-footer did not have a chance of going in the hole. So Kevin Na, some putting struggles. Okay, my what this week, speaking of putting struggles, Matthew Wolff has, it's been a career for him so far. But first round, Thursday, he's 4 over through 6 holes, struggling, had some issues in the bunkers. So he goes long on 7 and says, wedges aren't working out of the bunker. Let's try putting it.
Absolutely bizarre.
Not to anyone's surprise, the ball hit the lip, came back down. Probably the most impressive thing about the shot and the whole thing was Wolff's club throw to his caddy and the caddy throwing him back a wedge. What? Oh, man.
But you know what's so funny, Adam, is that the Masters, I think, unlike any golf tournament in the world, gives you more of that. Gives you more of stuff that you won't see anywhere else. You just mentioned it. We saw a 5-putt from Kevin Na. We saw Hudson Swafford's club go flying. We saw, never mind, what about Scotty Scheffler's finish for the double bogey on 18, where the hole was shrinking by the second, right? We see a 63-year-old Larry Mize giving up 80 yards to Bryson DeChambeau in 35 years, beat a guy. I mean, Augusta gives you this like no other. And it gives you the good stuff, too. What about 10? What about 2 eagles on one of the hardest par 4s on the PGA Tour? We saw, Charles Schwartzel
and Gary Woodland.
Make 2 back-to-back days on a golf hole that, annually is in the, one of the toughest par 4s in the world of golf. There's no other tournament like it.
There really isn't. And you saw it more on Sunday too, with some of the pin locations in some bowls, I guess, or, where you can feed off slopes, for example, the 7th hole, the 14th hole, the 16th hole, holes like that, or even the 18th hole too. That's why it's the best tournament of the year. There are 364 more days till the Masters
next
year.
one.
Yeah, so we're so excited, but like you mentioned, no shortage of weird in the world of golf this week.
On the other side, we're going to tee up 20 weeks of TaylorMade for you, put a bow on the show, let you know where you can find Golf Talk Canada moving forward. I'm going to get Adam's favorite right now for the PGA Championship if it started tomorrow. This is Golf Talk Canada.
This segment of GTC, presented by Picton Mahoney Asset Management, was brought to you by Cadillac. Cadillac. Experience the iconic Cadillac sedans and SUVs in a personalized live video tour with all your questions answered in real time. Book your tour at Cadillac.live. This is Golf Talk Canada, presented by Picton Mahoney Asset Management. This segment of GTC is brought to you by Adidas Golf and the all-new Tour 360 22. Tour 360 22 sits on the feet you wear last, serving as the foundation for the all-new Tour 360 Fit, while the new direct-injected Spike-More traction system will help golfers stay locked in.
Welcome back to Golf Talk Canada as we put a bow on today's show. Golf Talk Canada television, 1 o'clock on Wednesday, a 1-hour recap of the Masters. We'll take a little bit of a peek forward to the RBC Heritage, which is where I am off to on Wednesday. Actually be in the studio for PGA Tour Live, working featured group and marquee group coverage. I have no idea who I'm following or who I have, but that's what I'll be doing.
Pretty good field.
Yeah, good field.
Really good field.
Fun golf course, right?
Yeah.
As Doug was suggesting, it's for Corey Kroners, for a lot of ball strikers. Bob was suggesting it. There's a few golf courses on the PGA Tour that are old school. You play them green to tee. You play them backwards, create angles. It's not a bomb it and gouge it display.
Yep.
Harbor Town is one of them. Sawgrass is one of them. Copperhead at Valspar is one of them. This might be the most fine-tuned in terms of the most subtle. You can be in the fairway at Harbor Town and not have a shot at the whole location. So it'll be interesting to see what we get, and looking forward to working that. Okay, I left us hanging with, we're going to take Scotty Scheffler off the board, Scully.
Mm-hmm.
PGA Championship is just about a month away. Southern Hills, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Redesigned by Gil Hands, by the way. So there has been a redesign, a renovation project. There's a lot of shaved down bailout areas, a lot more interesting things around the greens, tighter lies around the greens than what we saw the last time we were there. which really, I hate to say it, speaks to what we just saw with Scotty Scheffler.
I know.
Okay? But let's take Scheffler off the board. Give me one or two names right now that if you were picking tomorrow, if I asked you for your TSN Edge picks for the PGA Championship tomorrow, your two favorites, you can't take Scheffler, who you taking?
That's tough. I mean, because it's so wide open. There's so many guys.
We should say the favorite
is
John
according
Rahm.
to FanDuel, the favorite still is John Rahm at 10-1.
Right.
And like we were discussing in break, he looks a little lost right now. But, I mean, with him, you wouldn't be surprised if he flips a switch. Hard not to like Colin Morikawa, hitting greens. A little further down the line, maybe a guy like Daniel Berger, maybe not as a favorite. Patrick Cantlay, he's due to win a major at some point here. I don't know. Like, is Rory Mcilroy going to flip the switch? And
I can't take Rory. I can't pick Rory. I put the 64, put him more over par. For me, I have to stick exactly with the two same picks I had for the Masters. You know,
Cameron Smith and Morikawa.
Yeah, I got to think that Cameron Smith again had a chance to win a green jacket, and Morikawa again played horrible and finished solo fifth.
Yeah.
And sooner or later, the best iron player in the world is going to win again. And he just finished fifth at Augusta with his C game. Fair enough. Maybe B minus.
Yep.
Maybe. Cameron Smith, really, we got him in a tie for third, but he was the only other player that really could have won this golf tournament.
How about Dustin Johnson? This is a guy who, sort of lost in the wilderness. He still hasn't won on North American soil since November 2020. But, what was he, top 12, I believe, top 14 this week at the Masters. Maybe, who knows, if he wins, he's around 16-1 right now on FanDuel. If he goes on to win, we could be discussing a career Grand Slam come 150th Open.
Interesting.
Perhaps.
Interesting. And,
maybe.
of course, Jordan Spieth. A lot of work to do because he has an
lot of
opportunity.
work to do for Jordan.
He has an opportunity to win a career Grand Slam when we get to the PGA Championship, but that seems like an awful long way away right now if you watched anything from Jordan Spieth this week. Okay, Adam, only a couple minutes left. 20 weeks of TaylorMade. How do they win? What are we giving away Wednesday afternoon?
20 weeks of TaylorMade. Week number 1, and it is major. We're giving away a Stealth driver. Yes, the same driver that the Masters champion Scotty Scheffler had in the bag. The same driver that Rory Mcilroy had in the bag. Colin Morikawa had in the bag. Oh, hey, Tiger Woods had in the bag too. And some Stealth irons. All you have to do.
You and I also have that in the bag.
That we do. All you have to do to win Stealth driver, Stealth irons, follow Golf Talk Canada. Follow TaylorMade Canada. Tag your golfing buddies on our posts on social media, Twitter and Instagram, and you'll be in a draw to win.
Grand prize, custom set through the bag, TaylorMade, top to bottom, woods, irons, wedges, putter, bag, etc. Treated like a tour pro for the day, and a trip for two to Casa de Campo, Dominican Republic, 5 rounds of golf, your accommodations for you and a friend, all your food, all your drink.
Sounds great.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Over 30,000 in prizing this year. The grand prize alone, over 10,000. I mean, if you're not following us in TaylorMade on social media, you are missing out on another great season of 20 weeks of TaylorMade. We're back on Wednesday 1 o'clock.
Yes.
You're going to be in this chair on Monday.
That's right.
I am flying back from St. Augustine where PGA Tour Entertainment is, so I'm hoping if the flight works on time, I fly out early, so if the flight works on time, I will be on the ground hopefully in time for segment 2 of GTC. At some point, you and I will have to talk, so it'll be you and Bob, though, steering the ship.
Or maybe you come on for one long extended and then take some time to, you're flying. You need time to recuperate, to relax, to speed train.
I don't know. The Masters, although we love it, it is the tournament that never ends.
Yes.
And for me, this is my second tournament that never ended this year because I was on the ground for the Players' Championship doing radio. Which was the tournament that never ended.
That really never ended.
It literally, finally Monday, we're getting that in. The Masters, we've been on the air since Monday of last week, nonstop. We did radio, TV, radio.
Bonus radio, you're right, yeah.
And we will do that as well for all the majors this year. Bonus Wednesday radios, including the RBC Canadian Open, which Scotty Scheffler
is playing.
Is in the field.
Love to see that.
Adam, always a pleasure. Are you hitting any balls this week?
I'm hoping to. I'm playing golf this Friday.
Oh, Friday, and you're going to see the Arkells.
Yes, I am.
Oh, no, the boss is coming. There you go. That's it. All right, enjoy the Sims.
Thank you.
Get out there.
You
Go
too.
enjoy your first round on Canadian soil Friday.
It's going to be cold.
And enjoy the Arkells.
Thank you.
You're young. You can handle it. Thanks so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. I hope everybody enjoyed the Masters. We're back Wednesday. Jump in on 20 weeks of TaylorMade. There's no reason not to. We're also back next Monday for radio as the major golf season has just got started here on Golf Talk Canada. Remember, first good decision on the golf course, it always starts in the closet.
This segment of GTC, presented by Picton Mahoney Asset Management, was brought to you by Adidas Golf and the all-new Tour 360 22. Tour 360 22 sits on the feet you wear last, serving as the foundation for the all-new Tour 360 fit, while the new direct-injected Spike More traction system will help golfers stay locked in. Thank you for listening to GTC. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Golf Talk Canada. For show archives, podcasts, and all things GTC, visit golftalkcanada.com. And don't miss Golf Talk Canada Television weekly on the TSN Television Network.